It is our North Clackamas School Board meeting here at the district. Let me go ahead and okay that. We're going to start off with our land acknowledgement. Vice Chair Bauer, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Chair Ford. We acknowledge the land on which we sit, which we call the North Clackamas School District. It rests on the traditional and indigenous land and village sites of the Native peoples of the Kalapuya, Chinook, Molalla, and Clackamas. We take this opportunity to offer gratitude for the ability to learn, work, and be a community on this land. And we offer thanks to the original caretakers of this region. We recognize the historic policies of colonization, genocide, relocation, and assimilation that affected Indigenous and Native families, both past, present, and that will affect those in the future, and honor the resilience and revitalization of our Indigenous and Native communities. We pay our respects to the elders, both past and present, who have been the stewards of this land throughout the generations.
Thank you. Director McVeigh, are you ready for the flag salute? Thanks. Thank you. We'll move right into consent agenda. We currently have 7 items listed. Open the floor for a motion.
Move approval of consent agenda, including employment changes, charter contract for Cascade Heights Public Charter School renewment, policy revisions, 2022, 2023 intra-district transfers, travel request, Milwaukee High School, Milwaukee Academy of Arts Choir, travel request, Sabin-Shellberg Center Construction Camp West Wind, and travel request, Sabin-Shellberg Center DECA.
It's been properly moved. I have a second.
Second.
Properly moved by Director Schrader and moved by Director McVeigh. All in favor, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye. Done. Okay, excellent. Okay. Moving right along, I just wanted some clarity here. Consent agenda on the one that was posted, was that adjusted? Just so everyone in the public knows. Okay, excellent. All right, moving right into our public or community comments.
Chair, minutes.
I'm sorry, thank you very much. Open the floor for a motion to approve board hearing minutes from March 5th, 2022.
I move to approve the minutes from board hearing March 5th, 2022.
Second.
It's been properly moved in second. All in favor, please raise your hand and say hi. Aye. Donna, did you get that? Excellent. Open the floor for a motion to approve regular meeting minutes from March 10th, 2022.
Move approval of regular meeting minutes for March 10th, 2022.
Properly moved. A second.
Second.
Properly moved in second. All in favor, please raise your hand.
Aye.
Donna, did you get that? I'm also an aye. All right, moving into our community comments. I have something I will read and then I'll call off the list that we have for community comments. Any individual desiring to speak may indicate their desire by submitting their name, city of residence, either email address or phone number, and the group, if any, that is represented on the sign-in sheet or online form prior to the board meeting. A speaker should give their name, city of residence, and the group, if any, and that is represented, and will limit their presentation to 3 minutes. If there are more patrons desired to present comments than time allotted, the board chair has the authority to reduce the presentation time. For individual speakers or institute a prioritization process with attention to order of sign up and city of residence. Speakers may offer objective criticisms of district operations and programs that are of concern to them. The board is restricted from hearing and will not consider complaints regarding any individual, district staff member, or any person connected with the district. As an organization centered around youth and their positive development, all speakers will model respectful public comment and be mindful of civil discourse. The board vests in its chair or other presiding officers authority to terminate the remarks of any individual when those remarks do not adhere to the rules established in this policy. This is our policy BDDH. We do have a lot of speakers signed up, so I will give you 2 minutes to speak. We do have 15 minutes allotted for speaking time. It will also be prioritized based on the association to the district. So we'll start off based on the online signups, and the first person I see is Kristen Stevens. Welcome. Please present your name and the city you're associated with, and we will begin the time. Press the button, please. Yeah, there you go.
My name is Kristen, and I've lived in Happy Valley for 20 years. I'd like to address some issues that I became aware of in schools after watching the documentary, Whose Children Are They? That is available tomorrow on the On Salem app. The documentary touches on several issues in our schools, such as inappropriate sexual material that is being made available in school library. As a parent of 2 children in the school district, I did some researching myself. I reached out to a librarian in Michigan that specializes in this subject and went through our very own elementary schools in North Clackamas, Alder Creek Middle School and Adrian Nelson High School. I found 186 books that contained graphic sexual content present in these schools. The librarian that helped me said this selection was the worst selection she has seen in the country. I decided to check out a few books on myself. And the first one is This Book is Gay. And it is not actually about gay. It is a how-to book. And it has how to depict various sexual graphic acts, including diagrams and pictures. And honestly, it's the most disturbing chapter in it was found on page 107, which was how to meet up with an adult, how to give step-by-step on downloading an app, uploading a picture, putting words on the profile that gets attention, and then also how to meet with adults secretly and keeping it from your parents, which is a huge red flag. This book is rated 17 and up and is available to our 11 and 12-year-olds. Why do we have books that are rated for adult sexual content in our school libraries? I've spent 15 years of my career taking care of children in Portland, taking care of human sex trafficking. We have a huge problem here in Portland, and I have seen unimaginable trauma to what has happened as a result. And so this book concerns me, as well as the 186 books that are not appropriate for school as they encourage grooming. I do not think our school district should be
sorry, your time
providing
is
these
up at this time.
information.
I'm sorry, your time is up. I'm not going to sit here and listen to y'all yell at me. I said that it was 2 minutes because there's a lot of y'all that want to speak. So in order for us to get through this meeting, you're going to have to cooperate with us. I'm not going to sit here and be yelled at. We will not continue this meeting in that way. The next speaker is Amy Reiner.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy, and I reside in the Happy Valley, Damascus area, and I have a 3rd grader that goes to school in your school district. I'm here today to voice my concerns over a portion of the curriculum being taught and books available in the elementary school that are age inappropriate. The subject matter of the curriculum and books are regarding gender identity and sexual orientation, which really have no place in an elementary school setting. It should be the parents' choice on when they feel their child is mature enough to be educated on these topics, not the Oregon Department of Education, the school board, or the elementary school, and certainly without parental consent. As a parent of the LGBTQI+ community, it is not appropriate for the school to be discussing gender theory, gender identity, or trans topics with any child in elementary school. I understand that my views are very different from others in my community. However, I firmly believe in the school's responsibility to focus on teaching children how to read, how to write, and how to do math. It is the parents' choice to guide their children with values and ideologies, not the school system. Leave the social emotional learning to the parents and get back to school and back to the basics so our children can succeed. I'm limited on time, but here are a few snippets out of the book that I feel are age inappropriate that are in the elementary school system. Page 44, it's about a book who's turning from boy to girl, so transgender. She immersed her body with the warm water and tried not to think about what was between her legs, but there it was, bobbing in front of her. Page 104, so you're like transgender or something, Kelly whispered as best she could in her excitement. I was reading on the internet that there are lots of people like you. Do you know how to take hormones for your body? If you don't, it'll give you to be more or less manly. These books are not appropriate and not age specific. And all that we ask is that you have parent transparency with school books within the library. For those parents that are not aware, I suggest you highly encourage
Time is up.
looking at the detransition movement
That
because
is
there
2
is a
minutes.
movement
Thank you
around
so
that.
much. We appreciate your time. Sir, you cannot yell from the audience. You can speak once you come to the mic. I do not feel as though I need to respond to anyone because that is not appropriate governance. So please discontinue screaming from the audience or we will remove the audience because I do have that right. We will get through as many as we can, but we need to cut the time down. Okay, next person on the list online signed up was Angie Bartlett.
Hi, my name is Angie Bartlett and I live in the Clackamas, Damascus area. I want to speak on trespassing today and also the masks. On March 10th, if you guys can hear me, around 6:30 p.m., I was in attendance to a North Clackamas School District Board meeting exercising my right to a redress of grievances. This redress of grievances was in reference to the unlawful mask mandates that thrust upon the youth within the district. In my special appearance to express said grievance, the police were summoned and I was aggrieved with a verbal trespass warning. Not only is this inquiry to me, it is an injury to me, but it is an injury to the children of North Clackamas School District whose health and psychological development are being injured and compromised by these unlawful mask mandates. It is undisputed that the schools in this district, not to mention any halls or facilities of public assembly, are indeed public property. Therefore, these injurious actions against me are in violation of the following legislative laws in the state of Oregon. ORS 659A 403, that is discrimination in place of public accommodations prohibited. ORS 659 406, aiding or abetting certain discrimination prohibited. And federally, U.S. Code 241, conspiracy against rights, 18 U.S. Code 242, deprivation of rights under color of law. Be advised to the North Clackamas School District and all other North Clackamas districts and or government entities are hereby on verbal warning that should such another breach of trust occur, prosecutorial action will be administered under the laws. And I have some flyers for you guys if you need to know what trespassing laws are. I'd like each of you to have one. And who could I leave that with?
You can leave it with Cindy and she'll make sure
All
that
right,
we
that's
all
all I
get
have
it.
to say for now.
Thank you very much for your time. Next on the list, we have Maya. Is it Zam? Come on up, please. Please pronounce your name so that I can say it correctly.
It's Maya Zam.
Maya Zam. And present
I'm-
where you're from, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, North Clackamas. I am a parent and part of the community in North Clackamas, and I just want to say that I highly support our administration and what they've been doing and trying to do to accommodate all the children. And I also support social emotional development, which is linked to gender identity and sexuality. Thank you.
Thank you for your time. Next, I will go with Carol Bernard.
It's Carol Bernhard.
My apologies, Carol Bernhard. And is that also you're connected to the next person, John?
Yes, that's my husband.
Excellent. I will have it right.
Okay.
Begin when you're ready. Please state
When-
where you're from.
When does my time start, since that was a question?
After you finish saying where you're from, the time will start.
Okay. I'm from Happy Valley. But I have a unique perspective. I grew up in Oregon, but I've lived and worked in New York City. I've lived and worked in Los Angeles County. I've been to Watts. I've been to Compton. My kids, for their entire life until 2018, were educated in Los Angeles County. I have never seen a board less respectful to the students. I'm here to be the voice of the voiceless, the students. What are we all here for if not for them? For the past 2 years, you've put our kids' education on pause, and you stopped testing to realize what they're not learning. I have a 6th grader that comes home in tears because she's being taught as if she's still in 6th grade. I spent hours supplementing the 2 days, 3 hours a day that my kids had of academic time in the last year and a half that they were home. I also want to say, I don't understand this gender identity, gender dysmorphia that's being taught specifically at Oregon Trail Elementary School. Who is ginger person? A 5th grader, a 5-year-old, a 3rd grader, they don't understand their own bodies. And to be given this gender person curriculum is ridiculous. I do, however, congratulate the board for easing the standards of volunteering. I am your free labor for a stressed out, overworked teacher. They're not babysitters, they're educators. Allow me back into the classrooms, allow me to go on the field trips, allow
Thank
me
you,
and
Ms.
every
Barnhart.
other person that's
Thank you, Ms.
here
Barnhart. Your
to
time is
support
up. Your time is up.
our children.
Your time
If
is
each and
up.
every one of you sitting in that
Ma'am.
chair will not understand what our kids are here, what our
turn the mic
kids are
on.
here for, then what are you doing in those chairs? I came and prepared
So
3
if you
minutes and
continue
you
to
want to tell me
speak,
I don't have 3
You will
minutes?
cut off time from
Thank
other
you
people.
for the respect to the parents and the students that are here.
You will cut off time to other people. Thank you very much for coming. I will say this, and I will say this once. We have a lot of people that are here to speak. You can have a seat, ma'am.
I'm listening to what you have to say. I don't want to be disrespectful.
No one can see you behind you. If you're standing up, no one can see you, and you should not be yelling at me from behind.
How are you going to hear me if I don't raise my voice?
I'm not talking to you, I'm talking to everyone.
No, you don't talk to parents.
So I will say this again. We have 2 minutes to speak. We have a lot of people on the list. We are supposed to be done. As the chair, I have the right and the authority to stop all comments. I am trying to give you guys the space to speak so that we can still get the work of this board done. If you continue to delay us, I will cut off comments. So please consider everyone and make sure you cut off your time at 2 minutes. Thank you. Next person on the list is Tara Nelson. Please state your name and where you're from, please.
Tara Nelson, Damascus.
Thank you.
Currently, according to outdated OHA rule OAR 333-019-1030, our district requiring teachers and volunteers vaccinated. Yet the decision was given to our the district, the right to change that decision and override that. School districts, including our neighbors in the same Clackamas County, are allowing and approving exemptions, businesses included. CDC data shows no reason to restrict somebody's ability to volunteer in schools based on vaccine status, as the vaccine does not provide strong protection against transmission of current variants, and 80% or more of Oregonians have immunity against severe infection. Our kiddos are still playing catch up from 2 years of shutdown. Parents are anxious to rejoin the classroom in support of the teachers and students. The rules that govern schools during the pandemic are fast becoming constraints to our children's learning and are no longer relevant to post-pandemic phase of COVID. The focus needs to be on learning and addressing losses from the shuttered schools. Schools should be focused on getting our kids caught on the basics of reading, writing, and math. Parent volunteers should be in the schools helping with learning and easing the staff shortage. Parents want to help our district help our children. We should be following our school policy and district mission statement. The North Clackamas School District values its volunteers who support student success in various ways. Our success is dependent on our amazing volunteer staff. I had other items, but I don't want to lose my 2 minutes. Oh, an example also of no volunteers is our ESD and LEAP. Special need parents are exhausted. The students are still not a full 5 days of school on campus. There's even a parent who has a personal support worker, caregiver who wanted to volunteer, who coincidentally works for the state, but was told no, that was a conflict of interest. So we ask that you, on that note, happy Easter and cheers to a long weekend. Thank you.
Thank you. Next we have, just so you guys know, I'm trying to get all of our local folks first, because they should have preference. So John Bernhard. You can't replace John unless he tells me that he wants you to replace him.
He's taking my children to softball.
Okay, well then I'll go to the next person. If there's more time, I will bring you back up. There's a lot of people on this list, ma'am.
Okay, well, when he drops them off, he'll be back. Keep him on your list.
Next on the list is Chelsea. I can't read the last name. Is it Hendricks? Yes, thank you. Please state your name and where you're from.
Hi, I am Chelsea Hendricks from Clackamas, and I have a third grader at Oregon Trail Elementary. I'm here representing the Oregon Trail PTO, and I'm one of the many members here in support of our school counselor, the administrators, and the work that they do. As an active member of the community and a youth development professional myself, I have seen the effort and the care put toward fostering a safe and inclusive environment for every student and member of the community at school. I've seen the impact it has on the students when they come to school and the need that we have in our community for this kind of work. It is their priority every day and when they interact with the students, and it should be applauded and supported. Thank you.
Next, we have Angela Peterson. Please state your name and where you're from.
Hi, I'm Angela Peterson. You guys are probably pretty familiar with me at this point. I've lived in this area since I was in the 5th grade, graduated from Clackamas High School, been a teacher in this district, a parent, a volunteer. I'm thrilled that we are here attending in person tonight. Thank you for allowing that finally, after almost 2 years.
Can you state your city, please?
Oregon City.
Thank you.
Tonight, I'd like to advocate for students and families by addressing the alienation and discrimination against parents of the North Clackamas School District because of their personal health decisions. The isolation of school shutdowns were led by our state's government and teachers' unions, and they've done a significant harm to children. A national emergency was just declared in children's mental health just this fall. According to the Federal Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, suicide attempts jumped 31%. Suicide attempts were 51% higher among girls ages 12 to 17. Kids need to see their parents' involvement in their schools. Parents have always been an integral part of the schools. The positive benefits of parent volunteers cannot be overstated. I was a volunteer coordinator at Vern Duncan while my kids attended there, where we tried to assure that each teacher had at least one parent in their classroom every single day, if not more. Parents also volunteered in their workroom, making copies, packets, bulletin boards. We did field trips, of course, jogathons, you name it, classroom parties. And this remains important through junior high and high school. Students are shown to have increases in learning and overall sense of wellness, suffer less from anxiety and depression, have fewer behavior problems, and are far less likely to drop out from school when parents are involved. Teachers feel supported also when volunteers are there. North Clackamas said today, little difference between the vaccinated and unvaccinated individuals comes when transmitting the virus. So there's absolutely no reason for you to still require this vaccine mandate unless it's entirely political. And we parents have been alienated for long enough,
Thank you, Angela.
including the cutting us off when we prepared a
time is-
3-minute
Your time is up.
presentation.
Your
This is
time is up. I said this before.
Libra,
Your
you are
time is
running
up.
for Clackamas County
In 2
Commissioner.
seconds,
This is not how a
This is
leader
inappropriate.
performs. You should be extending. No. You should be extending
At
our
this
time.
I'm
After
going to
2
ask
years
that
of
we
not
sit
allowing
there.
us to speak, how
Please
dare you
mute
cut us
yourself.
down to 2 minutes? You can spend the extra time,
Angela,
ma'am.
I need you. to
We
remove
have been
yourself
here
from the mic.
outside waiting for you
We still have
since
8
August.
people that want to
Great.
speak.
They should be
You are taking away their
allotted.
time.
They should be allotted
You
3
are
minutes.
taking away their time.
You are
Please,
taking
you
away
are
their time.
finished.
Let that be noted.
You are finished.
And
Thank
you
you.
will
very
lose
much.
your position and you will not win it, Clackamas County Commissioner.
So the next person on our list, and we are now at 7 o'clock. We are 10 minutes past our time. If I hear one more outbreak, I will remove all the spectators. I've said it twice. The third time will not be just a statement. Next person on the list is Melinda Ryan.
Hello, I'm Melinda Ryan. I'm here from North Clackamas Education Association. Good evening, board directors, Dr. James, and the North Clackamas community. Members of the North Clackamas Education Association are here this evening to show support for the necessary work North Clackamas educators do every day to create learning environments in which all students feel safe being themselves. This is work every teacher does every day to build community. North Clackamas Education Association is a union of individual educators standing together to support students and each other. The union stands firmly behind educators who meet their ethical obligation to stop bullying and harassment and to instead build empathy, understanding, and inclusion in our learning spaces. Every student in our district and in the state of Oregon should have access to a school where they feel safe and welcomed and where they see their own lived experience in the lessons and the curriculum they receive every day. NCEA supports our members as they work to accomplish this critical and weighty goal, and we thank this board for doing the same.
Thank you. Next on the list is Derek Porter. Please state your name and where you're from.
Hi, everyone. My name is Derek Porter, Clackamas, Happy Valley area. I have a student at Oregon Trail Elementary School and a student at Rock Creek Middle School. I'm here tonight to address the board and our district leadership about an article that was released by Newsweek a couple of weeks ago in regards to a situation that happened at Oregon Trail, and to voice my concerns about a lack of support that's been shown to our transgender community and for the counselors and administrators that are supporting them. Having worked in elementary education for the last 15 years as a paraeducator, a teacher, and as an administrator, I am fully aware of the sensitivity, tension, and political agendas surrounding certain topics. When I read about the events in the article and a statement from the district about the reasoning for a gender identity discussion to occur, I fully supported the counselors and principal's decision. For those that are unaware, according to the article, and I quote, a group of students in a particular grade level were using derogatory language referring to the gender and sexual identity of fellow students. The school principal and school counselor addressed that behavior in multiple ways, including classroom discussions at that grade level about acceptance, gender, and sexual identity. A transgender student was being harassed. The counselor and principal stepped in. The counselor and principal did what all educators are asked to do, which is to educate students when harm has occurred. In regards to the specific situation, other than describing what happened in the article, I have not seen anything from the district that expresses support for our transgender community or for the counselor and principal. I feel that the lack of voice shows a lack of respect, trust, and appreciation for all counselors and all administrators in this district that are dealing with the same issues. Remaining silent while knowing that 2 of your employees' names were smeared in a national headline and a transgender student was being harassed speaks volumes to the current character of this leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Janet Bailey. Please state your name and where you're from.
Janet Bailey from Tualatin, Oregon. Critical race theory might sound great, but it is the opposite of equal opportunity. We want equal opportunity. Equity is not good. Equity demands an equal outcome. Equity only happens when circumstances are manipulated and people are divided into groups based on skin color, race, sexual preference, or whatever gender identity they might feel like at any given time. Critical race theory is happens when gerrymandering the results to force a certain narrative. This school district is dividing children from their parents and dividing children from other children. Segregating students is not the answer. CRT is divisive, toxic, and is a Marxist ideology. It leads to socialism and then communism. The founders of Black Lives Matter openly claim to be Marxist and acknowledges that they follow the guidelines of the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. Communism and Marxism have no place in our schools or in America. On the other hand, equal opportunity is when rewards are given to a person who is most qualified, the person who can perform any given task on their own merits. Equal opportunity creates incentive and motivation to achieve. Equal opportunity is based on people succeeding or failing on their own efforts, not for reasons like sex, race, or religion. This school district is bullying children with white skin into feeling ashamed and that they need to apologize for who they are and for the color of their skin. This school district is convincing Black-skinned people and Indigenous kids that they are oppressed and need special privileges in order to succeed. Our kids are brilliant and are able to achieve on their own merits. We know that this local school board has the authority to not only select curriculum, but also select what parts of curriculum to teach and what parts of the curriculum to eliminate. Currently, Oregon is second from the bottom academically in America. That's disgusting. At this rate, our Oregon kids will not be able
Please
to compete
finish your
in the
last
job
sentence. Your
market.
time is up.
Our kids are failing, and therefore you are failing our kids.
Thank you. Okay, next we have Colleen Hamilton. Please state your name and your city.
Good evening. As you can see, I'm not a parent. I'm a grandparent. Used to live in Clackamas.
Please state your city.
Colleen Hamilton, sorry. Used to live in
No, state your
Clackamas,
city so we can start the time.
now Oregon City.
Thank you.
Shame on all of you, school board members and North Clackamas teachers and administration for allowing the teachers union and the NEA to destroy the childhood of children who attend your schools. What they bring to education is garbage. Your political agenda of teaching CRT, pushing transgenderism, and keeping all of this a deep, dark secret from parents is appalling. You push sex early, often, and with anyone and everyone. Shame on you. I have met with the Education Department of Catholic Diocese of Portland. They are appalled at what public schools teach. Time to stop this madness. It is time to look at the harm you are doing our children with the agenda of the political left. It is ugly, does not support the good of our children, and certainly does not give all children a quality education. Shame on you, North Clackamas School Board. I hope you all lose your school board positions and never are voted into another public position. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Jessica Magnet. Thank you. Please state your name and where you're from.
I'm Jessica Magnet. I live in Milwaukee, but I'm here speaking on as a North Clackamas teacher. I currently teach for the virtual online program and known as VOP. I am speaking this evening on behalf of our middle school teaching staff. We have an amazing team of teachers and learning specialists who have worked tirelessly building the plane while flying it, so to speak. This was a program that was thrown together in response to COVID, and we have taken it and launched, and it's been very successful. So we wanted to share the successes that we've had, due largely in part to the current staffing of our program. At the middle school level, we currently have 192 students enrolled. The VOP program is flexible and offers individual options for our families. One of our goals this year focused on creating strong relationships with our families. With so many students, this is often challenging. So we decided to change our previous advisory model. Each middle school teacher oversees 30 to 40 students as their advisor. These are students we take personal responsibility in making sure they are looped into the VOP and actively engaging in the curriculum. The advisory model affords us the opportunity to meet weekly with students and families. Some of these interactions have been daily emails to parents updating student progress and/or weekly phone calls to offer support. Daily emails to students checking in and encouraging them to come to class and celebrating their successes. Weekly virtual meetings with families of students struggling to engage. As a result of these meetings, students begin to engage. Gaining a deeper understanding of student and families' needs beyond the academics. Building trust quickly with new students who may not have been successful in person. Community building assemblies to provide a sense of belonging and celebration. Each afternoon, we have 1 to 1.5 hours of advisory meetings every day of the week. With our current staffing, we consistently support our families on an equitable basis, including any new students.
Jessica, please finish your sentence.
Oh.
Time is up.
Okay. Anyway, we just wanted you to all be aware of what we do on a daily
Thank you.
basis. Thank you.
Appreciate you. Thank you. This is the last call for John Bernhard. Okay. Thank you. Next thing that we have on our agenda is our 2022 to 2023 board meeting schedule. You should have this inside of your packet. We do have one thing we need to consider. There's a small change for the July timeframe, which normally is our meeting would happen later, but we're trying to not cut into our staff's vacation time. This is a discussion item, so I will open the floor for discussions. If you have a comment, please raise your hand. Seeing none, this will come back in our next meeting. Next thing on our list is our public complaint discussion. And at this time, I believe that you all have received that complaint. I need to have a verbal or a head nod that you've received the complaint. Thank you. I just want to remind everyone that we said, I don't know, maybe a year ago that we'd have a regular discussion about changes to our board meeting. So we're at that point again here, as well as we also committed to following the district's guidance on what's happening at the district level for meetings. So I'm asking our superintendent just to give me, or someone to give me an update on where we're at on meetings and how they're working here. What's the policy and protocol?
At this time, staff is meeting. Thank you. At this time, staff and other meetings are being held with masks as an option for anyone who would like one. Social distancing is at the individual's preference in terms of whatever distance you'd like to maintain. And there are no other encumbrances on meetings that are being held.
Excellent. With that being said, based on the complaint, there was a request that we evaluate our meetings. Is there a reason why this is going in and out? The mic, it's just doing it on its own. Okay. Okay, so at this time, I'd like to open up for discussion. Anything that we feel we want to adjust in the meetings or not adjust, or anything in between that. So if you have a comment, please raise your hand. I'll call on you. Director Bauer.
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody that we had many discussions on this along the way, and we did agree, as the chair said, that we didn't want to get ahead of the district and the regulations. We took an oath to follow the law. We were doing that in all state orders, local health authority. I just want to remind people that we are the adults in the room and we set the example for our children. And that's what we need to do and not have disrespect for our staff. The last meeting was difficult to watch what our staff had to go through. So let us lead the way with kind and care and respect.
Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, at this time, the complainant has been responded to, but I think that we will remain obviously in open meetings. We will remain following the district, and we will bring it back for discussion if need be. Thank you. Next thing on our list is our superintendent evaluation report. Does everyone have a copy of that? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the old one, middle school, high school fees discussion. So we did pull something out that we would like to discuss more. So that's our middle school, high school fees. This is discussion only. It's not an action item. Is picture here. Oh, this is awesome. I know that we had some board member with some questions about this pretty incredible trip. So I'm sure that you can answer all of our questions. How are you this evening?
I'm well.
Good.
Nice to see you all, directors. Thank
Excellent.
you. We are not looking to make any changes to the fee schedule for next year. So if there are any questions or anything you'd like to discuss, I'm happy to hopefully be able to answer.
Any questions from the board? Director Bauer?
Yeah, I just wanted to confirm that we still have, and since there's so many people here, if the students cannot pay the fees, what is available for supporting so that everyone can take part in these activities that are so important in kids' life?
Oh, we ensure that all students are able to participate regardless of ability to pay fees. So we support families in that way.
Director Schrader?
I'm not sure if this has been addressed. I brought it up a couple years ago, but when we go to state, there's socioeconomic disadvantaged students and families who cannot afford even for the bus.
Mm-hmm.
Have we looked into working with OSAA to say, hey, you control the tickets for championships. do we have accommodations for socially economic disadvantaged and provide busing for students so that they can enjoy the high school experience that they should have the right to attend, but they can't afford?
You're talking about from our end?
Yeah,
So,
well, it is, like in past years, we had a bus ride that cost money to go south of down I-5, and it had a cost. And I felt it was a barrier to entry for people who couldn't afford to go. And even if they got there, how could they afford to go into the game when it's actually their team playing? I feel that OSAA needs to work with the school districts who do go to finals and look at the demographics of the school district that is attending and do accommodations for tickets for those students who cannot afford.
I don't disagree. In terms of whether OSAA is altering their fee schedule, that I don't have any information for you, but in terms of what we do, we don't put up barriers for students who are wanting to participate in things like that. So if we're running buses, we really work with students. In
As long-
terms of OSAA, I agree that should be.
I can talk with OSAA, but I just want to know from our school district,
Mhm.
we're here to help the students to attend and have the experience.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Other comments? Director Perez?
Yes, Chair, thank you. Question, Petra. So let's say I'm a student, middle school or high school student, and I am getting the trying to think of a good way to ask this. So let's say I'm getting free and reduced meals.
Mhm.
So I'm entitled to get fees waived.
Mhm.
But how do I know that as that student? What's the process? Is there a teacher going to come to me and say, do you know how to do this? Do you know how to fill out the paperwork? Does your parents know how to fill out the paperwork? Does your family know? How are we making sure that these students know how to, and their families know how to do that and find that paperwork and fill it out and make sure they're all.
Well, in order, when it comes to the school fees, they don't actually have to have free and reduced paperwork filled out in order for the school to work with them. So that part should not be a barrier. But in terms of all of the other things that are important, school lunches, for example, schools do a lot of reaching out to educate families on how to get those things filled out, what they need to get filled out, and for what purpose too, because there of course needs to be a really clear purpose involved.
Okay. Thank you.
Director Benaloga?
Yes, thank you, Chair Ford. This might just be a typo, but under Sabin for cosmetology, it says it's $15 for the semester and $40 for the year. Is that just incorrect?
Oh, that must be. I apologize.
Just
for
happened to
that.
notice it, so just wanted to point that out.
Other questions? Thank you. Thank you very much.
Very much.
So this will come back. Yes. Next meeting. All right, next on our agenda is our superintendent evaluation. So just so the public knows, we annually are responsible for an evaluation of superintendent performance for the purposes of improving the school district and maintaining effective communication between the board and the superintendent, and enhancing relationships between the board and the superintendent. So at this time that has been completed. We feel as though the board has rated her highly in several areas, which include things that are written inside of the board packet. So we'd be more than happy for folks to look at that if they're interested in it. But at this time, do we have any additional comments that anyone would like to make? Director Way?
Yeah, I'll make a comment. Well, I think I was a part of this subcommittee this year to really look at all the different areas that we can assess our superintendent. And, I think there are positive areas that the report has indicated, but there are also opportunities for growth. And I know personally that with the pandemic, with everything that, districts, administrators, teachers, as well as parents have just had to go through the last couple of years, I think there is continued progress that we can make. And so overall, I am just happy and pleased that we have a leader like Dr. James who shows up and does hard work every day. So thank you.
Then who did I see over here? Oh, Director Bauer.
Yeah, just a few words. I want to thank you, Dr. Shea, for stepping into this time. It's been difficult for everyone. I mean, I want to acknowledge that your students, your families, the leaders. And again, you stepped up, you're bringing us together, your calmness, I appreciate, and your positiveness. And you've surrounded yourself with really good leaders too and staff. So we will get through this and we can do it. But with your leadership, I'm very grateful for what you've done. Thank you.
Director Strado.
Dr. James, it's been my honor to serve with you and to work with you. And you're an amazing leader. You've helped out so much prior to being in your new title, but also the daily changes back in the summers, and all your staff who would have multiple changes even in a day to be evaluated and selected during non-pandemic would be amazing enough. But the extra load that you've had on and the staff, the extra load, I can't thank you and your staff enough for the work you've done. Thank you.
Other comments?
I just want to say thank you. It's been a yo-yo year and you've done a fabulous job.
Director Benaloga.
And I as well just want to thank you for your leadership and for your compassion and for the heart that you put in this work every day and the weight that you carry. You have a great team around you, which is wonderful, but you carry a tremendous weight. So we appreciate that. And we appreciate all that you do for the district and for our students.
Director Perez.
Yeah, I just want to say, I think that a lot of people would have looked at this position with the whole COVID going on and ran away in the other direction, and you stepped right in. And I feel, as does everybody else, grateful that you stepped in and for our kids, for our community. Thank you.
Okay, with that being said, our next agenda item is the virtual online program. VOP is what we call it, extension for 2022-2023. And we have a presenter here, Miss Yvonne Dibley. Welcome.
Good evening, Chair Ford and directors. It's okay. And I have with me a program administrator, Stafford Boyd. On March 10th, we brought forward the virtual online program extension for the 22-23 school year for discussion. And tonight we are seeking board action and are here to take any questions that you may have.
Open the floor for a motion.
I move board approval to extend the North Clackamas virtual online program in grades K through 5 through June 30th, 2023, and permanently append the virtual online program to the multiple pathways option for grades 6 through 12.
Second.
Been properly moved by Director Benaloga and second by Director Strado. Donna, you got that? Excellent. Any discussion or question? Director McVeigh.
So this has been a very successful program, but I do worry about kids further isolating themselves. Can you talk to us about how to mitigate that, or is there anything? I mean, if they're doing virtual at home, I mean, we only have so much control, but that is a concern. for all of us, I think, is isolation.
Absolutely. I think Program Administrator Stafford Boyd can talk definitely about the different activities that he has led as well as the staff.
Yeah, I think actually the context of where we are in the pandemic and transitioning into a new school year with potentially cases continuing to drop, that we actually knowing who our students and families are with the transition will actually go through an application process and engage in conversation with families that we know students are very isolated. On the flip side, actually, I think an important development is that it's been for many families, especially secondary, high school age and middle school age families, over the past few months since Omicron, it has been a place where students with anxiety, stress, mental health issues, it actually becomes a saving grace for them. And so it's actually, it's supporting their mental health. We enrolled over 100 students since the semester break at 612, and more than half indicated that it was mental health that was the leading reason they were joining the VOP. So I believe it's actually supporting those students and families that need it. And again, we know our kids, like Jessica said earlier, very well, so we can engage in those conversations that if there is isolation and that is a true issue, potentially we can get them back to their neighborhood school where they can get a lot more supports and address that. And again, it's the parents know their kids the best. So really partnering with them to help each individual family make that decision.
Can I just add that I also think that we have teachers that are working very hard in VOP to allow activities for students to get together. They're creating ways for them to come together and break out rooms to meet each other, to do things online, and looking at next year, how can we potentially bring them in optionally once, a week, once a month, and what that could look like. So those are conversations that we continue to talk about, but our teachers are doing amazing work of trying to keep kids connected and making sure that they have office hours as well for additional support, as you heard Jessica Magnet talk about.
And Director McVeigh, I'd like to add to that. There was just a really powerful story of just like the importance of relationship building. One of our high school teachers single-handedly connected with a student, just made sure that their individual needs were met, and that the student was able to not only have that connection with their teacher, but also was able to take care of their own personal needs and their family's needs, and is graduating this year when that wasn't a possibility. So as far as isolation and individual connections, the connections that they're making within the activities, and then able to pursue other opportunities has been incredible. Sorry, I cut you off.
No, thank you. That makes me feel a lot better. Thanks.
Other questions? Director Way?
Yes, I just wanted to comment on this, the multilingual survey that was sent to parents, and just wondering how many languages were sent for that outreach.
We send all our parent communication, including surveys for feedback or two-way in 5 languages. So English, Spanish, Russian, Vietnamese, and simplified Chinese.
Great. Thank you for, sorry for putting you on the spot. It's like a pop quiz, but no, I just wanted to comment on just the enrollment numbers and just the fact that I really like that breakdown of how students and families identified by race and ethnicity. I think that data is really important as we think about closing the achievement gap for many of our students of color. So thank you.
Other questions? Okay, seeing none, it's time to vote. All in favor, please raise your hand and say aye.
Aye.
And I'm also aye. Unanimously, it is passed. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda is our contract award for our school bus purchase. We do have a staff member online. Kathy, I see you there. But Cindy, whenever you're ready.
Great. Thank you. Yes, Director of Transportation Kathy Calkins is online. Should you have questions specific to this agenda item. As background information, we are looking to add 10 general transit buses to our fleet to pick up our children and take them home every day, and the various field trips and other activities that happen. This is a request to purchase the 10 general transit 78 passenger buses at approximately $145,000 each from Shetke Bus Sales via a Eugene School District contract for a total of approximately $1,450,000. Public purchasing law allows us to work with other school districts who've already engaged in contracts, and that's what we're doing in this case. It streamlines everything and reduces duplicity in the amount of paperwork that happens from school district to school district. I do also want to share that recently the Environmental Protection Agency turned out a clean bus program that we're very interested in. We have signed up for that. It's slow in coming. We haven't received all of the information yet. We're also watching a couple of neighboring districts who have recently purchased a single electric bus. And so we're looking to see what we can learn from them as they do that, and are excited to learn more about that program as they become available. Right now, they're not quite available. I will also share that somebody had the foresight enough when we built our new transportation center with this current bond. We did lay all of the groundwork to have the electrical put in. We don't have the electrical stations, but all of the groundwork and the conduits are there. Should we move into an electric bus system at some point, at least a partial fleet, we certainly couldn't have a station for everyone. And you don't really want to have a student on a bus that's maybe going to Redmond that might run out of battery power. So we're going to obviously keep those, but there are other options as well for clean energy, not just electric. So I want to just put that out there that we are looking at that and have signed up for that program once more information becomes available.
Well, thank you for that. This is an action item, just to remind everyone. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the floor for a motion first.
Motion to approve school bus purchase.
Can you read it? You have it in front of you.
Recommend board approves the purchase of 10 general transit 78 passenger buses at approximately $145,000 each from Shetke Bus Sales via Eugene School District contract for a total of approximately $1,450,000.
Properly moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
Properly moved by Director McVeigh, second by Director Way. Any discussions or questions? Because we do have Director McVeigh.
And you might not have this, so I didn't. What is our rigor on our fleet? Is it 10 every year? Is it, because we have to replace them before they.
We do. It's not every year. And I'll defer to Kathy to fill in as we didn't purchase any during COVID. So we're catching up a little bit, but we're also trying to transition out some of the older ones. So we try to go year by those years. Kathy, feel free to jump in if you have more information.
Yeah, Cindy, you answered it. We'd like to do 10 a year, keep a fleet of 11 to 13 in the year. And so this will take out our 2008 buses, and we'll have 2009 and older buses with these 10 coming in.
Thank you for that. Other question, Director Perez?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Quick question. Thank you, Cindy. You said that I missed it. Sorry. What was it that we purchased with the bond money and how much?
We, as you recall from the bond, we relocated our bus barn over to a new site. We were only going to buy the property, but we were able to actually move the entire fleet. When we laid that new parking lot, we put in the conduits and lined everything up and had PGE out to make sure that if we were to put in those charging stations at some future point for electric vehicles, all the conduits are there for those wires to be pulled and be set up to electrical.
Thank you. Thank you. That's all of us taxpayers in the community that contributed to that so that students will have that. Thank you.
Director Way.
I have a question or maybe a couple questions. So so first of all, I'm excited in sort of exploring new technology and seeing battery powered and electric and all of that. And I also think that that's a great tie-in with our students at Sabin-Schellenberg that are, learning auto mechanics and getting just really hands-on work experience around that. So is there a tie-in there between, again, this kind of like recycling of our school buses as they age out, and just our students and, hey, here's an opportunity to, look at again, engineering and mechanics and apply that into their coursework?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of opportunities there. I will say that there are a lot of districts who can't afford anywhere near the kind of buses that we have. And so we do resell these. And so other districts will benefit from the resale of these as well. But anytime there's opportunities to marry a program with a district operation, we do look for that. An example of that is with the bond. We, with Energy Trust of Oregon, installed multiple solar panels on the Sabin-Schellenberg campus. It's a requirement to do part of that, but we did it specifically at that site. And we're very excited to bring you over there and for a tour at some point in the future once the final portion is installed. And that is actually a little mini teaching station that will show a solar panel on the ground. And if you go inside right now, there is a display panel just inside the doors there, and it'll tell you what is happening on the roof with that solar panel. So we can bring students in there and teach them about the energy efficiency that's happening and how much electricity it's replacing in the building. So we specifically put it there. The other option was to put a few on various buildings across the district. Instead, we kind of crowdsourced it on one site for a learning opportunity.
Thank you for that. Director Bauer, you have a question?
You did, I don't know if you did say that 70% of the costs are reimbursed by the Oregon Department of Education.
Yes.
And does that cover some of the building costs too that we had?
It does. We financed a portion of that as well, but things that directly impact the operations of transporting students, we can turn into the state for the reimbursement of the transportation grant. So, and that is at 70%. You're correct.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
So question about the 70% of transporting students. So it sounds like there's some stretching room there. And I will say, Kathy, this is for you and your team based on my little tour. How can we enhance their tracker system, which is delayed? And I got a good
We're
view
on
of
it.
that. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Excellent.
Yeah, absolutely. Kathy right now is working on bids to secure a better tracking system for us.
Excellent. Any other questions? If not, we can vote. All right, let's take a vote. All in favor, please say, actually, I'm going to do a roll call because this is money. So I am going to do a roll call. So Director Perez, how do you vote?
Aye.
Director McVeigh? Aye. Director Bauer?
Aye.
Director Strado?
Aye.
Director Benaloga?
Aye.
Director Way?
Aye.
And I'm also aye. Unanimously passes. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Next on our agenda is a technology E-rate award for network equipment. This is also an action item. Joe, thanks for being here.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's first time I've presented to you in this new role in technology, so I'm excited to be here. Thank you. Tonight, I'm here to ask for approval for an E-rate award for network equipment to CVE Technologies for a total grant award not to exceed an amount of approximately $790,627. The purpose of this recommendation is to provide our schools and classrooms with reliable and secure network equipment. And the purchase will replace approximately 130 network switches that are near end of life as we begin that refresh cycle with all of our network equipment over the next 3 to 5 years.
Thank you for that. This is an action item. I will open the floor for motion. Director McVeigh, I saw you push your button.
Sure. Move approval of Superintendent's recommendation of approving the E-rate award for network equipment to CV Technologies Group, Inc. for a total award not to exceed an amount of $790,627.27.
Second.
Director Strado, second. Donna, you got that? Excellent. Okay, any questions or Director Perez, you guys?
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Chair. Joe, quick question on the, I know this is something we did with many of our, if not all of our construction bids for a lot of the bond projects, but is this something we do for, even when we're, for example, getting the bids here, do we use the certification office for business inclusion and diversity?
That part I could not answer, but I can find out for you. Do you know, Cindy? I don't.
We'll just need you on the mic because anyone online can't hear you.
While the office that you're referring to, Dr. Perez or Director Perez, the COVID
Yes.
group, I guess you could say,
Yes.
has been applied to our bond work. At this time isn't part of our current purchasing rules, but those purchasing rules will come back through you and is definitely something that could be discussed further at that time.
Thank you.
Director McVeigh?
And just to confirm, this is ESSER funds?
That's correct. Yes.
Not North Clackamas money.
They're ESSER funds that then will have an E-rate grant reapplied to come back then to the school district. So.
Got it.
Just because we have a lot of people here, and I think E-rate has been around a long time, but a lot of times it's never explained. Can I just have someone give a brief explanation so that the audience is clear on what that is?
Yeah, so E-rate is part of the Federal Communications Commission, and it's funded based on taxes through the telephone system. And so it essentially works and reimburses school districts and libraries to access internet and related network services. And the reimbursement is based on your free and reduced lunch percentage. So for North Clackamas, it's about 50% is our reimbursement. So we go through the E-rate program and submit our request, and then provided that it's awarded, we make that purchase. In this case, it's the $790,000, and then the next school year, so next year, we get 50% of that reimbursed to the district.
Thank you. I think a lot of times we talk and, I mean, it's been around for years, but it's just one of those things. Any other questions? Oh, Director Way.
Yes, thank you. I'm just looking at the vendor. Is it Cash or Cash? Am I saying that right?
Yeah,
Technology?
Cache Valley.
And I just did a quick Google thing because I was like, okay, I wonder where they are. And they're based in Tigard. Is that correct?
That sounds familiar. Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm glad that we are staying in the state for this service. And so my question is around customer service and like if we're revamping our IT and all of this digital infrastructure, what is the level of support that we're getting from them? Are they highly responsive?
Absolutely. We've used them multiple times and have been very happy with them. They're very responsive, very quick, very helpful. Yeah.
Great.
Mm-hmm.
Other questions? All right, well, let's vote. It is money. I'll do another roll call. Director Way?
Yes.
Director Benaloga?
Aye.
Director Strado?
Aye.
Director Bauer?
Aye.
Director McVeigh?
Aye.
Director Perez?
Aye.
And I'm also aye. Unanimously passes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. Appreciate everyone's attendance and all the work that we've done to get to this point. We all must remember the beauty and the deficits that we see in others is often a reflection of ourselves. Let's continue to be beautiful people. Have a good evening. Meeting adjourned at 7:47.